Well, these are the times that Joe Rogan and Jerry Seinfeld crushed wokeness.
There's a creepy PC thing out there that really bothers me.
The pair have been outspoken critics of this phenomenon for years, and Joe even went after Hollywood for shoving woke messaging down our throats.
Whereas the last Star Wars, I was like, get the fuck out of here, Laura Dern. You're not running the empire.
And that's why today we're covering their best takedowns of this nonsense, so buckle up because you're in for a treat.
I have noticed that most of the guests are mostly white males of 22 episods that you've
let's get into that.
No, but you...
Take a look over here, Peter. What do you see? A lot of whiteys. What's going on here? Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. Really pisses me off. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares? It's just funny. You know, funny is the world that I live in. You're funny, I'm interested. You're not funny, I'm not interested. Okay. And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that, but everyone else is kind of with their little calculating, is this the exact right mix? You know, I think that's, to me, it's anti-comedy.
And for context, this was from a BuzzFeed interview back in 2014, and for some reason, the reporter decided to zero in on the race and gender of the guests Jerry featured on his Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee series, as if being funny suddenly depends on these factors. But BuzzFeed didn't like that. They ran an article later and they started it with Seinfeld. The show was repeatedly accused of presenting an exclusively white view of its diverse New York City setting. Joe Rogan also gave his take on the diversity in comedy issue during one of his podcasts, and the way he laid it out is perfect.
LA is a full-on meritocracy. There's a lot of funny women, but they have to actually be funny.
Well,
you don't get on a show just because you're a chick.
But it's weird that that's even controversial. Like, of course there's funny women, there's funny minorities, blah, blah, blah. But
funny everybody.
Why? It's more offensive to put you on because you have a gash.
Well, that's why, like I was saying about this girl that was telling me that she wants to have a certain look for her writer's room. I'm like,
that's weird.
The look should be hilarious.
Yeah.
That should be. Find the funniest fucking people that are willing to work for you.
Right.
Don't worry about, I want black, gay women, I want this, I want that. Listen, don't do it. Don't do it. It's a trap because you're not going to get the best show that way.
Of course.
The best show is find the best comics. And if they happen to be all women, Go nuts. You got it.
I get diversity. You want different, like, I don't know all the shit black people know or Asian people know, so get them in here, but like, just get the funny ones.
Yeah, exactly. And this logic applies across every industry. If you're the best for the job, you're in. There's plenty of amazing black comics. If you're not, work harder and maybe your time will come. Simple as that. What's crazy is that so-called inclusion practices were meant to fight discrimination, but when you start hiring people off their sex or race, that's literally discrimination. It's just wrapped in nicer packaging now. But hey, I'm not a full-on SJW, so I guess my take doesn't count. Joe actually took this whole idea even further in another episode where he talked about the forced strong female leads in modern film. Just keep in mind he's basing his example on Sigourney Weaver and Alien.
When people talk about pushing diversity in movies, this movie had a female lead who's a female superstar who, spoiler alert, winds up winning in the end and killing the alien.
Yeah.
But you don't even notice.
No.
It never feels like it's crammed down your throat.
Right.
Whereas the last Star Wars, I was like, get the fuck out of here, Laura Dern. You're not running the empire. Like, get out of here. You're like, what is this? Like, she's the head general, and then Carrie Fisher's the other head general, and they're telling these men to shut up, and this all makes sense to you?
Isn't that fucking amazing?
This is preposterous.
Another example that makes sense is Linda Hamilton in the first two Terminator movies. Sarah Connor starts as a vulnerable young lady and becomes a fighter through actual character development and struggle. Her strength feels earned, not forced upon you. That's what makes her arc so powerful and believable. And drop a like if you think that's what a strong female lead should be like. Compare that to today and you'll see the complete opposite as everything's basically forced on the story. And speaking of forcing things, Jerry has also talked about cancel culture making people stop doing a certain type of comedy as it's hurtful. So let's hear his take on this.
Well, I will say comedy, it's interesting. Comedy is, I do think, is supposed to push towards the lines of the medium. There are more people now who will let you know if they think you went over the line than ever before.
Don't I know it?
I mean, you have to feel the same way about comedy.
Yeah, but they keep moving the lines in for no reason.
Right.
I do this joke about the way people need to justify their cell phone. I need to have it with me because people are so important.
Right.
You know, I said, well, they don't seem very important the way you scroll through them like a gay French king. You know, it's just... I can imagine a time when people say, well, that's offensive to suggest that a gay person moves their hands in a flourishing motion and you now need to apologize. I mean, there's a creepy PC thing out there that really bothers me.
You know what I find funny? After this segment aired, the cancel mob came after Jerry and accused him of being out of touch. They completely missed the entire point of the argument and proved it right. He was clearly exaggerating to make a broader point, but nuance is not exactly a strong suit of outrage culture, which goes to show they'd rather attack the delivery than engage with the message, which is exactly what Joe and Dave Chappelle expanded on during one of the most legendary episodes of the Joe Rogan podcast.
I think what's going on now is like they want someone to be 100% compliant to whatever ideology they're a part of. And any deviation of that is problematic.
It's again, like you say, no one can be woke enough. You know, I'm torn because I like a warrior for a good cause, but I'm really into tactics. You're not going to nag people into behaving
right
in a way that's, you know, in fact, if you continue with this tone, even if you're right, you'll be very hard to hear.
And hard to hear they were. That's exactly why we're seeing such a huge pushback against wokeness across the board. The focus was never on progress. It was about forcing ideology purity onto everyone. But here's the thing, when change isn't organic, it doesn't stick. People naturally reject what feels fake or forced. Sure, they've had a few wins here and there, and it's affected one area of comedy in a major way, so let's hear Jerry break it down for us.
Nothing really affects comedy. People always need it. They need it so badly, and they don't get it. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day, most people would go, oh, Cheers is on, oh, MASH is on, oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on, All in the Family's on. You just expected, there'll be some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Well, guess what? Where is it? This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people. Mm-hmm. When you write a script and it goes into 4 or 5 different hands, committees, groups, here's our thought about this joke, well, that's the end of your comedy. They move the gates, like in skiing.
You give an inch, they take a mile. That's why even in some of these clips, they are a few years old, the message still matters. These moments were warnings. If we don't learn from them and call things out as they happen, their next push are going to be way more organized and much harder to stop. That's how we end up sleepwalking into some dystopian reality where groupthink rules and no one's allowed to question it. But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. If you want your friends to see these eye-opening videos, please share the video with them. It helps a ton. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.